So, some lessons from experience. Logic and reason behind collaboration, putting up the purpose, putting up all the kind of things why we should do it is not enough. We need to get buy-in. Buy-in creates collaboration, motivation creates collaboration. Logic and reason are not enough. If you're going to collaborate, don't do it for the sake of collaboration. Focus on results and make sure those results are as close to the customer as possible. Unless the customer sees a difference, what difference is it going to make? Okay, you may have saved £50 million, but did it make a difference? And when you look at the private sector, they cut costs. Yes, they collaborate to cut costs, but they also collaborate to add value. They collaborate to innovate. They collaborate to create new products and new services. The question I've got is, do we do enough of that? And collaboration is full of ands. It's not either or. There's a lot of ands. And it's about give and take, not necessarily in equal measure. You may have to give a little bit more, you may have to take a little bit less. It's about being able to act independently and interdependently. So for example, if we're building a house, we'll have the bricklayer do their bit, and then we'll have the electrician do their bit, we'll have the glazier do their bit. And occasionally they'll work at the same time with each other, interdependently. So a lot of people talk about collaboration and they think we're kind of working together all the time. No. You can work independently quite happily and collaborate. Just make sure you take your turn. And that kind of takes us on to the next bit, which is collaboration and choreography. Because if the glazier goes in first, the electrician goes in first, then the bricklayer decides that he wants to do something, that's not going to work. It's got to be choreographed properly. If you look at a dance troupe, somebody might say, here's the plan, but they all have to kind of work it out between them, interdependently, how they're going to make their moves. Where am I going to be when you're over there? What am I doing while you're doing that? And also, this idea of choreography applies to leadership, but not coordination, not necessarily management. It's about the individual dancers, or activists, or players, understanding and playing the part because they know what they're supposed to do. Collaboration can be temporary and permanent. In fact, I would go as far as to say that temporary collaboration should be encouraged because permanent collaboration is rare. One of the problems that sometimes happen with people, they say, we're supposed to be working collaboratively. You often did that on your own. Well, that's okay. It works better. The result is better. We're only collaborating because of some result. We're not tied at the hip. We're not married. We don't have some kind of relationship going on here. It's work. We work together when we need to, but we can work apart when we don't have to. And last, but definitely not least, there's a lot of stuff going on at the moment in the world of internet and social media that talks about providing collaboration tools. It's even happening here in the council. So we've introduced Yammer, and we've had several other mechanisms for people to drop in information, share ideas, share results, and whatever it is you want to talk about. Those tools only work where the motivation to participate is there, where the human desire to be there is there. So high tech is okay, but don't rely on it, because high touch, contact with humans, is extremely important to collaboration. Otherwise, us human beings begin to act differently if we don't see people for very often. Out of sight, out of mind is the phrase that comes to mind. So high touch and high tech is what I would suggest to you. So, summarising then. If we're going to lead in this collaborative environment, we have to think about where we've come from and where we're going to. Our society, British society, has come through some kind of class hierarchical system. That was reflected quite a lot in the military model of management, which was adopted by industry. So, this guy at the top tells you what to do, you do as you're told, end of story. Command and control. Generations of people have long since then, so the baby boomers, wartime, 1960s, 70s attitudes have changed. Gen Yers, that's those 1980s onwards, they don't respond to that very well, but you know, push managers are still doing that kind of stuff to those people, and they're getting more and more pushed back. That kind of organisation is quite good, where you understand where you're going, where it's fairly static, fairly bureaucratic, fairly hierarchical in nature. And it also kind of looks to the manager or the hero leader as being the expert that knows everything. In a collaborative organisation and going forward, leadership is talked about more than management. As Alan White said to me not too long ago, management, you manage things, you lead people, which I thought was very good. Well done, Alan. So in those situations, in that pool leader situation, authority and power diminishes, and leaders need to get comfortable with that. We asked people at the front line to do more self-management. We asked them to be self-reliant more, work it out for themselves. Now that's awkward, that's hard, that's difficult. And leaders in those environments focus more on guidance and come up with shared peer solutions as opposed to, I'll tell you what to do and you'll do it quick. It's hard to do. It's less telling and more convincing. But it's not the soft option. It's hard to do, but not the soft option. The soft option in some respects is actually just telling people what to do, because it's out your hair and somebody's away. It's hard to keep on explaining, saying why, and focusing on us. We have a responsibility, we are jointly accountable, blah, blah, blah. That's hard. Takes time, and in a busy day, sometimes you struggle with releasing that time. And in this pool environment, it's then about finding the right tactic to actually encourage collaboration. And that's a skill and an art in itself. Aesop, some of you may remember, lived around 500 BC, tells a story of the north wind and the sun competing to see who was the most powerful. And the bet basically was, there's a guy down there on a hill, he's got his coat on, see you can get him, you see you can remove it. And the north wind came along and blew like crazy, and as hard as he blew, tighter and tighter the man drew his coat around him, till eventually he ran out of breath. And then the sun came along and shone as brightly as it could. It got hot, man took his coat off. And the lesson there is bringing people with you, finding the right tactic, looking to take it from within is a much more powerful method and sustainable method than just telling people what to do all the time. And so I would say to you that if you're interested in collaboration and in collaborative leadership and working in a collaborative way, then maybe you should think about coming out of the wind and come into the sun. Thank you.